Howdy, hello H2Os, Roller Bros, and James Murrays alike. I'm your guide Q. Welcome back to r/AmITheAntagonist, and I apologize for this being a shorter video, but I've got some important stuff going on, and I just didn't carve out enough time today to put out a full video. But anyway, there's tons of stuff on my channel, there's tons of stuff on your YouTube. I'm sure you can find something to watch, but for now, we've got a couple stories to look at, so let's get into it. Am I the antagonist for helping my girlfriend's maid clean? I'm visiting my girlfriend's family for the first time, and they're kind of rich. They have a maid who comes and tidies up for a bit every day. My family isn't broke, but we've never had people working for us, and it made me super uncomfortable. Who am I to have someone serving me and cleaning around me while I just sit there? I can't imagine if my mom were witnessing that. She'd flip. So I got up and started to help her tidy up. She thanked me for the help and told me that I didn't really have to worry about it, but I told her it was no trouble. It really wasn't. We were just sitting watching TV. Later that night, my girlfriend's parents asked me not to help the maid clean because it was a boundary thing, and her work was her work and guests are guests. I told them it made me really uncomfortable to have someone clean around me, and they just said not to worry because she's paid well and has been with them for a long time. The next day, it happened again, and it made me so uncomfortable I said, hey, let's go outside to my girlfriend, but she was busy on her laptop. So eventually, I couldn't help it. I had to jump and help her out. Her parents walked in and looked pissed, and my girlfriend finally clued in and ushered me outside. My instinct is to help, but when I do, people get pissed. So if you understand the dynamic better than me, please clear this up. Okay, so I'm pretty unfamiliar with this sort of situation. I had one friend as a kid that had a live-in maid, and I didn't see her clean up all the time, but the fact that they had that did make me uncomfortable, and I didn't know how to deal with that dynamic, so I can very much relate to this person. But I went into the comments of this post. Reddit deemed this guy as the antagonist, as the bad guy, because he just didn't understand the dynamic, and he wasn't abiding by what would most likely make his girlfriend's family comfortable and the maid herself comfortable. I mean, this is her job. This is what she does for a living. I'm sure this dude interrupting and getting involved in her work, isn't the best thing. It's probably just not ideal. So yeah, I just advise that this guy get used to this sort of thing and stop intervening. If he wants to hang out at his girlfriend's parents' house, and in a situation where he doesn't want to do that, he can just not go there, I guess. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think having a maid around is weird? Would you be uncomfortable with that? And do you guys think this dude's the antagonist? Also, sorry for the echo. I can't do anything about this room. It stinks. Alright, this one sounds like a nice and complicated situation. Am I the antagonist for refusing to support my son's pregnant girlfriend until she takes a paternity test? My son, 24 male, and his girlfriend, 24 female, have only been together for 6 months, and she is apparently 4 months pregnant with his baby. They've actually been friends since high school, so my husband and I have known her for a few years as well. She's a lovely girl, but honestly, she's not someone I had hoped would be the mother to my first grandchild. First of all, she's a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, and while she says she's been clean for 3 years, a relapse is always possible. She only finished high school with her GED and now works as a waitress full-time. Her parents died years ago, so she's largely on her own. Our family is considerably better off. My son is joining his father's business, meaning his salary will be quite high and only continue to grow. Since my son first told us she's pregnant, it can't escape my mind that he may not really be the father, and that she picked him out of potential others because he would be the best in terms of support. My son is pushing for us to help her with some pregnancy expenses, and I told him we would under the condition that she can get a paternity test first. He completely blew up at that, accusing us of disliking her, untrue, and not wanting to be grandparents, also untrue. He says he loves her and trusts her, and that he can't wait to meet his baby. I get that, but I think he's being idealistic. If he wants our support, we want a paternity test first. If the baby is truly his, then we would be happy to welcome her into our family, and we would be happy to help her out. Am I the antagonist? They add an edit. There's 7,000 replies to this post and over 200 private messages in my inbox that I can't reply to. It's a pretty even mix of you're the antagonist and not the antagonist, so clearly the only thing everyone can agree with is that it's complicated. I've gotten messages telling me to end my own life, I've gotten messages calling calling my son an idiot, and I've gotten messages from the MGTOW subreddit telling me that the girlfriend is clearly a lying sociopath. I've also gotten a lot of messages from men who found out their child wasn't theirs after several years who wish they had found out sooner. It's a lot to read and a lot to think about. Many people have called out my attitude towards this girl, and I'll be honest, it is making me think. Let me just start off by stating what I think to be true, and that's that you do seem to have a negative bias, at least, towards this girl, based on both her past and possibly even her status, like lack of wealth, lack of surviving family members and stuff like that, and that's obviously not good. I would try and look past those biases if I were you. Don't, like, take those things too heavily into account in the way that you make this judgment, but there still are a lot of question marks in the air when she got pregnant 2 months into the relationship and they've only been dating for 6. I mean, I'm not trying to call this girl a liar at all. I think it's just a 50-50 thing where you don't know her enough to establish if she is or not. So yeah, to summarize, I can understand your trepidation, and I think that all of this could have been avoided if, since you're saying that your son makes a ton of money working for his father, why can't he afford to pay for all of these pregnancy expenses? Like, you wouldn't even have to be involved if it were just his decision to be like, hey, I'm gonna take care of this stuff myself because I'm in love with this girl, I believe her 100%, we're just gonna raise this child like anybody else would. Like, if that were the situation, it'd be fine. So why isn't that a thing that's allowed? Why do you even have to get involved? I don't know enough about the situation. I'm gonna give this one a not enough info. I do think that the parents are biased, but I also don't know what I would do if I were a parent in this situation. But as always, let me know what you think, because I'm just an idiot with a YouTube channel. If you're disappointed with the length of this video, I've got like 25 other Am I the Antagonist videos and like 500 plus videos on my channel, so we'll have playlists in the end card for both the Am I the Antagonist playlist and every video on my channel playlist, so feel free to check that stuff out. Hope you guys are doing very well, skating on to the best of your abilities, drinking more water, and I'll see you very soon.